We are going to make it our business to come here almost every other day until the reforms and the changes we intend to see here are not only achieved, but also sustained. So this morning I have come back. When I came yesterday, there was a crowd of people who were hanging around this place. And I'm happy to report our officers have implemented the directives we gave yesterday that no member of the public is supposed to stay within this facility if they have no business with the functions being offered here. So I'm very happy that our officers here, especially the law enforcement officers, have implemented that decision. We have further directed that no cars will also be allowed to remain stationary around here, and the only cars that will be allowed around here are cars that are dropping off passengers, whether members of staff or um, or even visitors who are coming to this building. And I explained the reason yesterday, that the process which is going on here is a sensitive process. It must continue, it must proceed in a safe environment. And other than that, I think inside here, as you can see, there is a lot of order. Every day is better than the previous day. I have witnessed much more order than I found here yesterday. Again, I thank our staff because they are the ones who are getting these matters achieved. So today it's a bit more orderly. The crowds are not as they were yesterday. And even the members of the public themselves have told me two things. One, they have told me that the queues that are here are moving. And you know that already gives them confidence that they are being attended to. So even if someone may stay here for an hour or two, at least they can see work is being done. It's only that perhaps it's not being done as much as good as we would want to see. They have told me therefore that the queues are moving, and I have witnessed for myself. The queues are moving. I have also uh, received feedback from members of the public that our staff are very professional and courteous. They are speaking to them very courteously and very professionally. And for me, that is what I would like to hear every other day, not just here in Nyayo House. That is what I would want to hear about our officers across the country. That we treat the members of the public with respect and decorum. So I think so far so good. However, I think we still have work to do. We still have work to do because even the kind of queues we are seeing here, we intend to minimize the numbers of people that are here. So the reform journey continues. We'll be making other policy uh, uh, pronouncements in the coming days. And for me, I think this is now a place I'll be reporting almost every other day. Okay, so I'm here now. I'll be here much later, perhaps in the day. I'll be here every other day until we work together with my colleagues to ensure that this is a good place. In fact, Now that the public perceptions about our services here have not been very good in the last few weeks, we have been challenged. All of us have been challenged. We want now to turn the story around. This place is going to be the most efficient service delivery point, not just in our ministry, but also we want to strive to be number one across the public sector. So we still have a journey to cover. We have not fully addressed the production issue. Our production of passports is still below the demand. We will bring normalcy by first addressing the entire backlog. And once the backlog is completely removed, we will stick to the directive that I gave in February, which is every applicant of a passport must receive it within 7 working days. And if it is an emergency, they must receive their document, their passport, within 24 hours. Once we sustain that objective, we will bring that timeline down again, but we want to go step by step. Once we achieve the 1 week timeline for the passport to be availed, we'll set a new target, and by that time, we'll have acquired more equipment, more printers, and we'll have invested a little more in more personnel and more um, uh, facilities, including computers and IT technology. So the long story is this. The journey that we have started here, we are committed to complete it. Number two, although there is some progress, we are not yet there. Number three, the policy changes we have made here are going to be permanent. We are not going to have a rollback again. So going forward, it can only get better, and no member of the public will be harassed or mistreated in this space. As you can see, these members of the public have told me none of them have been asked by anybody for a bribe today. And therefore, the zero tolerance to corruption is non-negotiable. The people who are hanging around there and harassing citizens asking for bribes will not return to the space. And we'll keep the vigilance, we'll keep our intelligence alert, because it is possible for them to relocate to some corner nearby here and start doing the same thing. So we are monitoring even telephone conversations that we suspect could be conversations that are of criminal intent. Nobody will be spared. Finally, we had two problems here, two challenges. One was the challenge of technology and production. That is what was hurting service delivery here. The second challenge was the challenge of corruption. And we don't want to mince our words about that. The only caveat we want to place is that the issues of bribery, solicitation, and corruption involved very few people here. And many of them are members of the public who are pretending to be our officers, but they are just brokers from town and criminals. Even among our staff from the immigration and also our staff from the National Police Service who work here to support the work going on here, the majority of them are doing a good job. The public is saying it. And we want to applaud these officers and these staff members for doing that. And we want to ask them to continue doing that. The few members of staff, the few officers who may be tempted to try and roll back what we have started here, we will make sure that they don't succeed. And the same energy, the same commitment, the same consistency we have employed in dealing with other long-standing security challenges will apply the same energy, the same vigor in the fight against cartels and corrupt people who have been trying to use this space to frustrate the people of Kenya. Kwa hivyo hii sio kazi ya siku moja. We are going to do a lot of changes. Part of it is infrastructure. We are going to have very nice banking halls, well furnished, with very courteous staff. We are going to increase the number of immigration officers. We are going to increase the number of printers. We are going to increase the number of public relations staff, customer service staff. We are going to uniform even our immigration officers, and we are going even to improve on their capacity around public relations. Every public official should be a public relations officer of one kind or the other. They must treat the people of Kenya well, and I'm very happy to be associated with the good work that is being done here by my colleagues, and I will support them. I will intervene for them. I've already made some success, as I said yesterday, in the area of budget, because budget has been a big issue, and the other things that are outstanding, we will address them as we go along. So I think so far so good. You'll see me around again soon. In case you hear anything that we need to know, please let us know.
Waziri.
Either openly or confidentially, let us know.
Waziri, my name is Francis Ode,
Yeah.
KTN News. Today you visited this morning.
Yes.
Maybe how was production yesterday? How many passports were produced yesterday? And probably is it different from the previous productions?
We are still at the same pace. We are producing about 1,700 a day, 1,700 nights. And the reason why the production cannot change is because we have two equipment. So the factors are standard. So until when we get the additional printers, we expect the pace to remain the same. Number two, we are at the final end of processing additional staff. The Public Service Commission is doing the final procedures of interviews and then deployment. So until we get additional staff members, most likely the production is going to be in the same level. And that's why we were estimating, going by the speed that we are at, 14 days from now, the backlog will be over. And going forward, we start now implementing the 7-day policy. And even in that policy, leave the room for emergencies, which should be not more than 24 hours. Some cases, it can be even the same day. Our dream as a ministry is that eventually we'll have a 1-day service for the people of Kenya. You apply in the morning, and if everything is okay, within 24 hours, you have your document. It is possible, it's not impossible, but I think we need to travel some journey before we get there. One last thing, and I think I've raised that with the members of the public here. The crooks who were soliciting money here and pretending to be police officers, pretending to be immigration officers, many of them, or some of them, were also pretending to be assisting the applicants. As a policy measure, there are only 3 categories of people who can be assisted in this space. The first one are children of tender years. Underage children need to be accompanied and assisted. not by a broker though, but by a member of staff who could be a police officer, can be a customer relations officer, immigration officer. So a child can be accompanied by a parent, for example. Number two, a sick person can be accompanied by a relative. Number three, a person living with disabilities can be accompanied by a person. All other people will be assisted by our officers once they are in this space. So nobody should come and pretend here they are providing assistance to any person. Our officers will assist everyone. We have even made, just this morning, we just consulted with my colleagues here and we've made even some adjustments going forward. We are going to create a special counter for lactating mothers, mothers with infants, as well as expectant mothers. Because you cannot have in a queue a mother who is breastfeeding or a mother who has a 1-year-old who is in a queue where adults are, even for purposes of public health. So we are making so many changes. And for me, I'm happy. So far, so good. But we will not drop our guard. We will sustain this until it is okay. Until the public themselves tell us it is okay. That's when now I can spend a week without passing by here, because we have other things also in the field to do. But for now, I'm a permanent feature here until things are in order, so that I can also support my colleagues here, and some of the things that are outstanding can be done, especially the new equipment, new personnel and things like those. Kuna swali ya mwisho?
Na swali la mwisho,
Yes.
si la mwisho kama tuanga lake.
Okay.
Swali langu uweke
Both of you can ask.
uweke bayana, jina langu Ben kutoka Citizen TV.
Mm.
Uweke bayana swala la vile visa vya dharura. Wakenya wengi wanalia kwamba wanatafuta kazi na wamepata kazi labda katika
Ni kweli.
Lakini hawajui wako katika kategori gani, kwa sababu
hilo ni swali nzuri. Katika vile visa vya dharura, kuna wale ambao ni wagonjwa ambao wanahitajika kwenda hospitali nje ya nchi ili kunusuru maisha yao. Hicho ni kiwango kimoja cha wale ambao ni tunachukua kama ni dharura. Cha pili, kiwango chingine ni wale ambao ni wanafunzi wamepata nafasi za kwenda ughaibuni katika masomo ya ziada, na tunachukua hiyo kuwa ni jambo la dharura kwa sababu kuna tarehe ambapo chuo ama ile shule inafunguliwa na lazima wafike. Wasipofika watapoteza ile nafasi. Jambo la tatu ni hilo umesema, nafasi ya kazi. Kama Mkenya ako na barua, amepata kazi, itakuwa ni hasara kwetu kama taifa kama kukosa cheti kutagharimu huyo Mkenya kupoteza ile nafasi. Serikali inafanya juhudi kutafuta nafasi za kazi kwa wale ambao itawezekana kupata kazi hapa nchini, lakini vilevile sera ya hii serikali ni kuwa na diaspora community ama kuwa na Wakenya wengi ambao wamepata kazi katika nchi zingine kuchukua zile nafasi, ili tukijumuisha na wale wamepata nafasi hapa tuwe na nafasi kwa watu wengi wa taifa letu. So I want to make it clear that among cases that we consider urgent and emergency cases, Kenyans who can show that they have a job contract and that job contract has a reporting date, we will put them where we have put students who are reporting to colleges abroad and where we have put patients who are going for medical treatments. Also public servants who are traveling, or so forth and so on, and they don't have passports or they want to renew passports, that's also an emergency. And we want to leave that discretion to our immigration people. I can say, we are all here. The immigration people, they know what constitutes an emergency. But as I said yesterday, in all those classes of emergency, paying a bribe cannot be a basis of giving somebody priority acquisition of a passport. Because that was one of the problems with the Kenyans. They were saying, we understand the machines are broken, we understand the printers are not enough, but why is it that the person who pays some money to some crook will have the passport printed? What has changed? Because if the printer is broken, it's broken. So paying a bribe cannot create priority for anyone to acquire passports. Na unajua, mimi najua Wakenya, kuna wale bado wanafikiria hii ni sarakasi tu, ni mambo kidogo kidogo ya PR, hii kitu itaisha, tutarudi ile maisha tumezoea. Mimi nataka kuapa mbele yenu na mbele ya Wakenya, hakuna mtu atachukua hongo hapa tena. It is over. Nobody will come and do that monkey business here again. So these are permanent changes, and very soon, in a year, in 2 years, these departments will be rated the best departments across the country. And finally, this is not a Nyayo House affair only. We have immigration offices in Mombasa, in Kisumu, in Nakuru, in Embu, and we are reopening the immigration office in Garissa. The same operation that we are doing here, we will extend it in those offices there. Because kuna wakora sasa, wakifukuzwa Nyayo, ni kama tu wale magaidi, wale bandits. Sasa wakifurushwa hapa, wanatafuta, wanahamia Mombasa huko kufanya biashara ya kutafuta hongo na kusumbua wananchi. Tutafuata hao kule Embu, kule Garissa, Nakuru, Eldoret, Kisumu. They have nowhere to hide. It is over. Hiyo biashara mwisho umefika, so they have to look for another business. So mimi nawashukuru. Thank you very much. Next time ukisikia niko hapa, you don't need to come. Because kwa sababu nimekuja tu kazini, ni kazi tu ya kawaida. Yes.
Now, would you give us a timeline?
Yes.
Expect the backlog to be cleared?
I said yesterday, 14 days from yesterday, based on hoping that again we don't have a breakdown or something. As economists say, all factors remaining constant. The reason why I cannot, beyond that, make any commitment is because I am waiting for the fresh additional equipment, which again will sit down and I'll get advice on our capacity. Then I can make the pronouncement from there, how many we can do per day, and how does the new equipment and new personnel help us to reduce the timelines further. But I am persuaded from mid this month, or perhaps at the very latest end this month, we will now start the 7-day production timeline. And then we will give it like another 6 months and try to reduce it further like that, until hopefully in the near future, we have a 24-hour service for all passports of whatever type. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki.
By the yesterday we expected more.
Bado tunawatafuta. Tunawatafuta. Tuko hapa wananchi wanasema hawajasumbuliwa hapa. So but as I've said, hakuna mtu atachukua hongo hapa tena. Na mahali wataenda kujificha, tutawafuata huko. Hata wakienda immigration nyingine, hata wakienda kujificha, we will follow them there. And we mean business, by the way. It's not a joke. We mean business. So we are several cases we are investigating. We hope to conclude those investigations very soon, and we will arrest more people for sure. Asanteni sana.
Asante waziri.
Serikali hii ambayo imeongozwa na Mheshimiwa Rais William Ruto ndiyo itakuwa serikali ya kumaliza kutoka Kenya hii shida na aibu ya uhalifu na kutojali sheria.
We have to work hard so that we can justify the faith, the commitment, the sacrifice you have